right to tell
Tell
me
of me now.
you have changed.
Tell me of me now. I've been in parliament for 10 years.
Let's take one particular aspect of your policy positions.
Yes.
Do you think aligning yourself with Vladimir Putin is going to be good for South Africa?
But that's what it is now. South Africa is in alliance with Russia, with India, with Brazil, with China. So why are you asking me as if it's some policy that is going to be...
Hey, so today we're gonna do this quick reaction video about this interview of Julius Malema. I was trying to do this combine it with the previous video, but it's a long interview. So this is the political party that he's representing. His name is Julius Malema. This is the guy we're been covering today. And it's actually a really fascinating speech. So
South Africa right
after
now,
I took over, South Africa is in alliance with Russia now.
South Africa right now calls itself non-aligned.
now, always these white people come over here, trying to do this interview and ask you about like, wow, well, what about China? What about Russia? Sir, it's not our problem if that's your enemy. If you decided that they're your enemy, that's fine. That doesn't concern the African people, and it definitely does not concern the South Africans. I mean, what kind of evidence do you have about like the crimes committed by Russians in Africa? Yeah, name one, name one crime, and you have like 500 or 600 years of brutal colonization, and you got like these sitting over there with no shame. Like, these white people are so audacious. Like, I wish I had this audacity of like sitting over there, like imposing your fucking distorted reality, fake history. Like, let's continue. I don't want to talk too much.
South Africa is an ally of Russia. Now, the second question is, where does South Africa stand on the war? It says I'm a non-aligned in relation to war, but Russia remains South Africa's friend. So we cannot create confusion around there. Don't create an impression that it is Malema who's going to come and create an alliance with Russia.
But there are some very
Yes, well, Russia is fighting the Ukrainian because of the NATO expansion, and it has nothing to do with South Africa. So I don't know why that guy should involve himself in that story.
I will go beyond that. I will go beyond the friendship with Russia, and in the war, I will align with Russia, and I will even supply the weapons to Russia. Because Russia is in a war with imperialism, and any agenda that seeks to push back imperialist agendas is well within the policies of the EFF.
You say quite clearly, I would arm Vladimir Putin.
Yes.
You know that the International Criminal Court wants Vladimir Putin to face war crimes charges.
You must start with Tony Blair. You must start with George Bush. You must go to Barack Obama.
Yeah, sir. You can't use that. See, when they do violence, these Westerners, when they do violence, it's always justified. They always have an excuse. I mean, whether they do it like blatantly, with like openly, and everybody can see it, or they do it covertly, right? They never admit their crime. They always have a justification for it. Nobody punish them, and if anybody raise the issue, the concern, or dare to raise their voice, even their voice, just to criticize the entire thing, because they get mad, they get defensive. I mean, have an interaction with a Westerner and bring up slavery, or bring up like colonialism, or whatever, atrocities they committed, and you will see the defensiveness. They automatically switch to this mode. It's called they become the defenders of the West. Like, I'm supposed to defend it, I know you don't have to defend it. You just have to admit. But we can't even get to that point of like you admitting the history. And so let me go back. I completely forgot what I was trying to say.
And with imperialism and any agenda that seeks to push back imperialist agendas, it's well within the policies of the EFF.
Yes, the thing about the Iraq war and all that.
Yeah. George Bush, must go to Barack Obama.
Yeah, well, George Bush, you can pick any, like, you probably in America, there was never a president that wasn't like slaughtering innocent people somewhere in the world. Pretty much all presidents are involved in war crimes, and nobody got punished. And I've heard from one guy, his name is Shahid Bolson. I've been following his content and all that. And he came up with this brilliant idea to fix this issue that we have and bring stability to the world. Was the idea, well, I don't want to go to talk about it too much, but there was the expulsion of the United States from the United Nations. And that way we can hold them accountable. I've been listening to a lot of political commentators, and nobody ever presented an idea that is going to be feasible and realistic and all that, and bring, actual peace and stability and all that. But this is one of the most interesting idea. Let's put it that way. Interesting, because if you expose them, then you can hold them accountable. But if they keep having veto power in the Security Council at the United Nations, you can't move anything forward. No, not the Ukrainian war, not the Palestinian conflict, nothing. They will just act with impunity.
It can go to Putin.
So let's get this straight. You're saying to me that your policy, if you were in power in South Africa, is quite simple. That your enemy's enemy, and it seems you regard the US and its allies as the enemy.
No, that's not that.
Is your friend. Never mind if he's a suspected war criminal. Never mind if the UN and the ICC say they have compelling evidence.
Motherfucker, all your Western leaders are criminal. Like y'all having even in the United Kingdom, they have these Winston Churchill statues like this, but y'all got no shame. All your presidents are guilty of war crimes, but somehow when Russia did it, and they do have a justification. When you do it, you don't have the justification. I don't think we can finish this video. I'm talking too much.
You don't care. As far as you're concerned, my enemy's enemy is my friend.
You're exaggerating.
No, that's not
another point which you don't want me to go there is that Tony Blair accepted that they were wrong about Saddam Hussein to an extent that he did an apology of a fact, right? You have never called for his arrest, and then admitting that I was wrong. How many people died there, killed by those people? So all I'm saying is, we are with President Putin because it's not enemy of my enemy. It is an anti-imperialist agenda that says the American dominance and its allies should be undermined at all costs.
But see how they view it. They view it as imperialism is justified when we do it. That's really what they believe. They don't view others, non-white, as human beings. They are treated as subhuman. And you don't have to listen to their words. You have to look at their actions. In their action, it's always, look at the Palestinian conflict right now. The Palestinians are not treated as humans. And everybody can see it and nobody can do anything. Why? Because it's the same mindset. These people over here, these white motherfuckers, they have never evolved. They're still living in the Stone Age. Just because these guys wearing a nice suit, right? And they have fancy infrastructure and all that. Some people get mesmerized by that. But once you live in those places, once you start to analyze their action, forget about what they say. They talk really good. They're very sophisticated with words. But if you just pay attention to the action, whether you want to go back 6 months ago, or 1 year ago, or 5 years ago, or 200 years ago, or even 1,000 years ago, it's always the same attitude, the same behavior, the same brutalization, dehumanization, degradation, exploitation, slavery, theft, mass murder. It's always the same. Whether you're talking about the Inquisition or the conquistadors or the drone attack in Syria, it's the same behavior.
Though Vladimir Putin is quite explicit about his desire to revive a form of empire, he says countries like Ukraine have no right to independent sovereign existence. He appears to believe that the best thing would be to revive an empire, the Soviet empire. But you're anti-imperialist?
We're anti-imperialist. That's a debate for another day. The war is not what he's talking. The war is about the expansion. And had there been a common ground found, this could have been avoided. we are not for imperialism, even if
Sir,
it were to come from Russia. If
sir,
it does that,
sir, he don't want to talk about that. Everybody knows it's about the expansion of NATO, but he's dishonest. Westerners are dishonest, you know. And this is not a personal attack. I mean, don't take it like a. I am making the differentiation between the power structure and the public. When I say Westerners and all that, I don't mean the public. We have no. My cat is bothering me. Hey, stop it. I'm not talking about the public. I'm talking about the power, right? So, trying to get defensive and go in my comment section, trying to give me like a history lesson.
but we know for a fact that progressive forces such as China have also aligned themselves with Putin to try and create an alternative from the imperialist domination of the world. And that's what the EFF is about.
You admire China, you admire, it seems, Putin. What you seem to have as a vision for South Africa's future is much more along those lines, authoritarianism than democracy.
No, socialism is not authoritarianism.
So how can you describe China?
They don't like it, whether it's socialism, whether it's communism, and it's just basically looking for the best interest for your people, They like capitalism, and you know why they like capitalism and they claim it's the best system in the world? It's because they can exploit everybody, even their own population. That's why they're so in love with the economic system.
China is progressive.
No, it's very progressive. China subscribed to Leninism and Marxism, where the working class control the commanding heights of the economy. And that's what we subscribe for.
And that's why they do also in Africa. Like I said, I'm not going to finish the video like I'm talking too much. That's what they're doing in Africa too. When you want to nationalize your resources and all that, they say, no. You gotta stop. Oh, this is unfair. We need democracy. And they come up with they manufacture all these terrorist attack and all that. Yeah. So they can privatize, So you can suffer in the conflict, and maybe force you to pay the debt, for the war damages and all that. Sometimes they use IMF loans and all that. They have different tactics. I mean, they're very sophisticated. I mean, they have perfected the process of this imperialism, and when they trap you with these economic constraints, you are obligated to privatize the companies, the mines, the natural resources, and all that. And why it's important to privatize there? Because they can own it, right? So, for example, remember back in Saudi Arabia when they went, I mean, that was 30 years ago, 20 years ago. They said, oh, we were going to extract the oil, the petrol, but we're going to have 75% or maybe 50%. I can't remember what was the deal. I think it was like 50%. They said we're going to extract it, and then we're going to keep 50% of it. That's like the most ridiculous fucking agreements I've seen in my life. If you want to extract the oil, you can do it. We're going to pay you for the service that you provided. But somehow the American find it like it was unfair to give the resources to the people who owned it, under their ground, right? And so they want to keep the 50%, and they have a whole different scheme. And now they got away from that deal. I mean, thankfully, I don't know if you see it, but there was this Jordan Peterson. He said that Saudi Arabia has undeserved wealth, and that America have dumped trillions of dollars, into their economy, and they didn't dump anything. They were just them paying Saudi Arabia for the oil they were been using all this time. That was just a fair commercial agreement. But two guys like Jordan Peterson, this is what, like I said, they act like defender of the West. If the money is not flowing into their direction, it's somehow unfair. It's undeserved.
Are of the means of production being owned and controlled by the states. We want South Africa through the vision and the image of China, where you grow the economy, where you reduce unemployment, where you reduce poverty, and you can't take that away from China. And the state plays the central role with regard to that.
Okay, anyway, that's my take on it. If you have anything to add, leave it in the comment section below, and like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and see you next time.